All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a military comparison that's been getting a lot of attention lately. Thailand versus Cambodia. You see, Cambodia just got a whole bunch of new, high-profile weapons, and it's got everyone asking, is the balance of power in the region actually changing? So, let's get straight to the point. This is the question at the heart of all the headlines and forum debates. With all this new gear, especially the stuff coming from China, have Cambodia's ground forces finally really caught up to Thailand's?
Well, if you want the short answer, the direct quote from the analysis is pretty clear. Not yet evenly matched. In fact, the source material says Cambodia is still at a pretty significant disadvantage. So that's our main conclusion, and now we're going to break down exactly why that is.
To really get this, we've got to look at it piece by piece. We'll examine the different parts of ground warfare, from the big, heavy armor all the way down to the individual soldier. And that's where the story gets way more interesting and a lot more complex than a simple yes or no.
Let's start where the difference is the biggest, the most obvious. This is the one area that really creates the largest gap in power between these two armies. Heavy armor. We're talking tanks.
And right away, you can see a totally different approach. Over on the left, Thailand is fielding real-deal main battle tanks, or MBTs, like the Chinese VT-4 and the Ukrainian Oplot-M. But on the right, Cambodia's top-tier armored punch comes from the SD-1. Now that's what we call a wheeled tank destroyer. They might kind of look the same if you're not a military buff, but trust me, they are built for completely different jobs.
And that difference is absolutely crucial. Thailand's tanks are made for a head-to-head slugfest. They've got way better armor, bigger 125mm cannons, and their tracks give them much better mobility over rough ground. Cambodia's wheeled ST-1, it's great for supporting infantry for sure, but with its lighter armor and smaller 105mm gun, it's just not in the same league in a direct tank-on-tank fight. The capability gap here is huge. It's decisive. Okay, so let's switch gears. We went from the biggest gap in power to an area where things are actually a lot closer. The individual soldier. What are the guys on the ground actually carrying into a fight?
So here's a look at their standard rifles. The Thai Army uses a mix of Western weapons, like the HK-33 and different M16 and M4 models, all known for being pretty accurate. Cambodia, on the other hand, sticks with the super rugged Chinese Type 81 and the classic Soviet AK-47s, legendary for just working no matter what. Both are solid, proven weapon systems.
So when you get down to the basic rifle, the analysis concludes that the two sides can hold their own. The difference in performance isn't massive. But Thailand still keeps an edge overall because they have a wider variety of weapons and just better quality gear for their infantry squad.
Now this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. When we start talking about long-range firepower, the whole dynamic shifts. This is the one area where Cambodia's recent shopping spree has seriously closed the gap. Just look at this. On the left, Thailand has a powerful, modern artillery force. They've got the world-famous French Caesar self-propelled howitzer. But look on the right. Cambodia now has the exact same Caesar system. And not only that, they've also added the Chinese Type 90B rocket system, the MLRS. That gives them a serious long-range punch that they just did not have before.
And the conclusion here is pretty stark. In an artillery duel, things are becoming much more evenly matched. Cambodia's new toys mean it can now shoot back, effectively. Now, Thailand might still have more guns and better fire control systems, but Cambodia is no longer completely outranged and outgunned like it was a decade ago. Not even close.
Okay, so we've seen a massive gap in armor and a narrowing gap in artillery. But this next part, which comes from analysis of an actual border clash at Ta Koi, well, it's a genuine surprise. We're talking about the best of the best, the elite forces.
So on one side, you have Thailand's legendary Black Beret Rangers. Their key strength is described as battle-hardened experience. These guys are masters of the border, masters of unconventional fighting. Then on the other side, you have Cambodia's elite BHQ unit, and that skirmish proved they're not just for parades. They are a seriously capable force whose strength is in conventional warfare, disciplined, by-the-book operations.
So what was the verdict after these two top-tier units actually fought? Very evenly matched. That's right. When you put Thailand's best up against Cambodia's best, the sources say they're peers. One side has that gritty, real-world experience, The other has top-notch training and discipline. In a real fight, the winner would probably just come down to the specifics of that day on that patch of ground.
So, how does this all fit together? A modern military is so much more than just its tanks and its guns, right? We have to zoom out and look at the bigger strategic factors, the things that really define a country's military power.
When you look at how international security experts see it, they pretty consistently give Thailand the clear overall lead. And this isn't just about the army. We're talking about superior total firepower, which includes a much stronger air force. It's about having the logistics, the supply chains to keep a war effort going. It's about having a more diverse and capable fleet of drones. And maybe most importantly, it's about being better trained in something called combined arms.
So what on earth is combined arms? Well, think of it as the art of making all the different pieces of your military, your soldiers, your tanks, your big guns, and your jets, all work together as one single deadly machine. It's incredibly complex. It takes tons of training and amazing command and control, and it's seen as a key advantage for the Thai military that you can't just buy off a shelf.
And this all leads to a really fascinating geopolitical angle. This whole situation basically works as a real-world weapons showcase. For China, Cambodia's new army is like a giant advertisement, proving their tech can quickly and affordably boost a nation's military. But on the other side, Thailand's military, with its mix of American, European, and Israeli gear, serves to validate the performance and reliability of all those systems. It's a global competition playing out in Southeast Asia.
So, if we boil this whole explainer down into one single chart, this is what it looks like. You've got a really large gap when it comes to heavy armor. You've got a gap that is rapidly narrowing in artillery. And then you have a surprising dead heat, a parity, when it comes to the elite special forces. It's a complex picture, right? Not simple at all.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Thailand, without a doubt, still has the clear overall military advantage. That's thanks to its air force, its logistics, and that complex combined arms training. But that is not the whole story. The real takeaway is that Cambodia has been very smart, very strategic, and has quickly closed some critical gaps, especially in artillery and elite units. And that has made the whole regional balance way more interesting and complicated than it's been in a very long time.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to chew on. What we're seeing right here between Thailand and Cambodia, it's a small example of a huge global trend. As advanced Chinese military tech gets easier and cheaper for more countries to buy, how is that going to keep shaking up military balances, not just here, but all around the world? Now that's something to think about.